Let's look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. The Lions are set to kick off their 2022 season versus the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday, and today we're going to be taking a look at the game. We're going to be doing predictions. We're going to be going through the rosters, looking at strengths and weaknesses of both teams, how those strengths and weaknesses compare to the other, who could take advantages of those strengths and weaknesses best on Sunday, and hopefully find out who the winner is going to be in week one. So with all that being said, we have a lot to talk about today, a lot of players, a lot of statistics, and a lot of in-depth analysis. So with that being said, and without any further ado, let's start off by taking a look at the strengths of the Lions and Eagles. Now, after a embarrassing 46-6 loss last year on Halloween Day to the Philadelphia Eagles at home, the Detroit Lions are going to have a chip on their shoulder. This game is going to be personal for a lot of Detroit Lions coaches and a lot of Detroit Lions players, and I do think they will come out with a little bit extra fire in this game. Now, do I think it is going to be the difference between winning and losing? Not necessarily, but I do think the storyline and I think the bulletin board material this week for Dan Campbell is going to have his team come out very early, punch the Eagles in the mouth, be that physical team that they want to be, and I think that they will jump out to a lead very early in this game because of that revenge mentality. Now, looking at the strengths of the Detroit Lions offense and defense, their strengths come from the trenches, right? Their strengths come from the offensive line, which is a top 5 unit in the NFL. Even without Big V, I think they can finish as a top 5 unit in the NFL. And I think that their pass rush, especially after seeing it in the preseason, is going to be a thing to worry about in Detroit. The combination of Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, and Austin Bryant is a very good rotation of 3, and the defensive line of Ali McNeil and Michael Brockers and John Kaminsky and Demetrius Taylor is going to be something to look out for as well before they get fully healthy. But even in the preseason, this front four looked really dangerous. They looked to get a lot of pressure. They were collapsing pockets. They were getting sacks. They looked dangerous. And I know the Eagles had a top-tier offensive line as well, but I think the Lions' pass rush is going to give them everything they can handle in week one. Now, the Lions are going into this week with weapons of DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hockenson, DJ Chark, as well as, of course, Josh Reynolds. Those are going to be their big players, their big playmakers to put points on the board, and that is a pretty good weapon, right? That's a pretty good arsenal for Jared Goff to take advantage of. He's going to have the offensive line to block. He's going to have the receivers. He's going to have the weapons. He's going to have the contested guys. He's going to have the deep threats. He has everything he needs on this roster to put up a lot of points in 2022. And with the weapons and the strengths of this team, I think that they are built to win quite a few football games this year. Now, on the flip side, Philadelphia has quite a lot of strengths in their own right? A playoff team from a season ago that got better going into 2022. It seemed that last year, as I said, annihilated the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving, absolutely blew them out, and was really the first stepping stone to that playoff path for Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia's strengths come from the offensive line that allowed just 31 sacks a season ago, having a top 10 mark in sacks allowed, and their run defense. They allow just 4 yards per carry. They allowed just 4 yards per carry a season ago, ranking 5th in the NFL, and they added Jordan Davis in the first round, the defensive lineman from Georgia. Their running defense is going to be stout. The Lions probably will not have the most efficient of running games this week versus the Philadelphia Eagles, but their pass rush isn't anything spectacular. The Philadelphia Eagles last year finished with just 29 team sacks, ranking 31st in the NFL behind the Detroit Lions. And although I think they added a lot of good run stuffers, I don't really think that Philadelphia's pass rush is going to be anything that special. And I think the Lions offensive line should be able to keep Jared Goff very clean in this pocket for a large majority of the game. So it's strength on strength for the Detroit Lions, right? Our offensive line versus their defensive line, our defensive line versus their offensive line. I think the winner of those two battles is going to dictate the outcome of this game. I think if the Lions can win in the trenches, their offensive line can move Philadelphia. If their defensive line can create pressure and collapse the pocket, I think that the Detroit Lions will walk out as victors in week 1. But if they falter, if the Philadelphia Eagles' experience and knowledge and kind of just their chemistry of being together longer is able to overcome the Detroit Lions, and their offensive line is able to move Hutchinson and Charles Harris and Aleem McNeil around, if their defensive line is able to get that pressure, if their pass rush is much improved this season and can get to Jared Goff, I think we're going to see some problems in Detroit. But it's all going to come down to this trench battle and this trench war. Now, Philadelphia has their fair share of weapons, including, of course, A.J. Brown, the new incoming wide receiver, first-round pick from last year, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, and, of course, Jalen Hurts is a threat both through the air and on the ground. I think that the Lions and Eagles have very similar strengths across the board, but I think that the Eagles are a little bit more complete of a football team. I think both teams are built to win, kind of that gritty, run first, play tough mentality of football, but I think the Eagles are one step ahead of the Detroit Lions. And while I think both teams are fairly complete and have very few weaknesses, there are a few things for both sides to take advantage of this Sunday. Starting off with the Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to talk exactly what we just said, right? The pass rush wasn't great a season ago. The pass rush wasn't there. They couldn't get to the quarterback. They ranked second to last in sacks a season ago, and they weren't much better in the pressures and hurries category either, right? The Lions offensive line is built to pass protect. The Lions offensive line is built to keep Jared Goff upright, built to keep Jared Goff clean, and I think that is what is going to be the key to victory for Detroit. And while Detroit, again, I think is a very complete team, they do have some weaknesses in the secondary, as their secondary is young and inexperienced. Mike Hughes is playing his first games for Detroit. Chase Lucas is a rookie. Jeff Okudah is playing just his 11th game in the NFL starting in week 1, right? Will Harris is converting to a new position. Outside of Amani Oruwariye, there are a lot of questions about this secondary, and I think that, the battles of Jeff Okudah versus Devontae Smith, the battles of Mike Hughes versus Quez Watkins, the battle of Tracy Walker versus Dallas Goedert is going to be a major impact on this football game, and I do think if the Eagles are going to take advantage anywhere in the Detroit Lions defense, it's going to be in the passing game. I don't think the Lions are going to let them run. I don't think that Aleem McNeil and Isaiah Buggs are going to leave a lot of openings for Miles Sanders to explode through, but if they're going to succeed on offense, it's going to be through the air. It's going to be taking advantage of these young Detroit defensive backs. Now, with that being said, let's compare the rosters, right? Let's go position by position and see who has the advantage where. Starting off with quarterback, I'll give it to Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia has a better quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is more dynamic. Jalen Hurts is more explosive. He is more dangerous in both the ground and the air. I don't know if he has quite the arm strength of Jared Goff, but he does have the accuracy, he does have the mobility. He is a more dangerous weapon than Jared Goff is for the Detroit Lions. So the Eagles have a better quarterback. I will give them that. Running back, I think, is very close. I think both DeAndre Swift and Miles Sanders are kind of in that same tier of running back, but I think DeAndre Swift is just a little bit better. And when comparing the entirety of the room, right, our 3 versus their 4, I think the Lions running back as a whole, I think the duo of both DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams is a better duo than Miles Sanders and I think Boston Scott is his name. Their second string running back. I think the Lions have a deeper and better running back core, and I think DeAndre Swift is just a tad better than Miles Sanders. So I'll give the running backs to Detroit, but it is close. Same thing with tight end. I think tight end is very close, but if you were to ask me to pick between TJ Hockenson and Dallas Goedert, I will take TJ Hockenson 9 times out of 10. I think he's just a better all-around football player. I think he's just a better receiver, a better weapon. Dallas Goedert is a top 10 tight end in the NFL. TJ Hockenson is a top 7 to 6 tight end in the NFL. It's very close. It's a matter of a couple spots in rankings, but I do give a slight nod to the Detroit Lions at tight end. Offensive line, again, it's very close. It's a matter of maybe the number 1 offensive line and the number 3 offensive lines in the NFL. But I do think just because of their experience and because they are healthy, I will give it to Philadelphia. But again, it's close. It's between, from It's the difference between the number 1 offensive line and the number 3, the number 2 and the number 4. It's a matter of 2 or 3 spots, and both of them are incredibly good. I think when you talk about interior defensive linemen, right, the run stuffers, I do think you have to give it to Philadelphia, but the pass rushers, I will give to Detroit. So split their 50-50 on the defensive line. As far as linebackers, I think that the Philadelphia Eagles have better linebackers, and as far as the secondary, Philadelphia is a better secondary. James Bradberry and Darius Slay are a very good duo. They added Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Saints as a nickel defender / strong safety. They are going to be a very good defense and a very good secondary, but I do think the Lions have the advantage on special teams when it comes to punter, kicker, and of course just all around where they ranked in special teams a year ago. So the Eagles, I think, do have a slight advantage in this game. I think the Eagles are a better team. I think they're a more complete team. I think that they will walk out of this game with a very hard-fought victory and a very tough game under their belts after week 1. But don't be shocked if the Lions win this game. The Lions are tough, they're gritty, they held a lot of good teams to very close scores a season ago. They were one of the teams that held Baltimore and very nearly beat them. They did beat the Packers for when the starters were playing. The Lions starters played 3 quarters versus the Packers starters and won 2 of those 3. They beat the playoff-bound Cardinals. They were within 1 score of the Super Bowl winning Rams. They were a team that put a lot of good football teams last year in tough positions, and I would expect for them to do that again. Now, I think that Philadelphia is a better football team. I think that they're more complete. I think they're a step ahead of where the Detroit Lions are looking to be in their rebuild, and I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are an 11-10 win football team, while the Lions are a 7-8 win football team. Now, can the Lions upset? Absolutely. Would I be shocked if the Lions are 1-0 after this week? Not at all. But if I had to guess, and if I had to go off statistics, and I had to go off strengths versus weaknesses, I do think that the Philadelphia Eagles will take this game in a very tight, very close, back-and-forth battle with a final score being 27-24. I think the Eagles will win on a last-minute, last-drive field goal. I think the Lions are going to look good. I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to have some sacks. I think the offense is going to find some rhythm. They're going to find kind of their footing in this first week, and hopefully go into week 2 with a better outcome and a better winning total. But I do think that the Philadelphia Eagles take a close victory in Detroit this week. So with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this game. Let me know who you think is going to win. Give me your score predictions. I'd be very curious to hear all of it. But with all that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, and as always, go Lions.